I would now like to introduce our next CIO panel, Responsible AI for Sustainable Development. Please put your hands together for our esteemed speakers, Sabyasachi Biswas, CEO, Wiki.ai. Krishanjit Roy, VP, BankBazaar.com. Shantanu Bhomik, Head Multi-Service Solutioning, DXC Technology India. Dr. Sushil Mair, CIO, AIMS. Ms. Zainab Lakrawala, AVP Sales, STT Telemedia, and a huge round of applause for our chairperson and moderator, Harish Agarwal, Managing Partner, KOLKATA and East India, ENY. We're looking forward to a wonderful session.
All right, very good afternoon, and fabulous to be back at INFOCOM. I think at least, some of you have been on INFOCOM earlier. Dr. Mehra, I think first time for you at the INFOCOM?
No, this is the second time.
Second time. Anybody here first time? Zainab, you been here earlier?
Yes.
Oh, so everybody's been here in the, fantastic. So, obviously, as everybody knows, I look forward to INFOCOM. I think pretty much the whole city looks forward to INFOCOM because, at least for me, I get to meet a lot of friends from all over, for sure here. But today we've got a very exciting topic to talk about, for responsible for AI, responsible AI for sustainable development. And I think we put together a very robust panel from, from technology on the healthcare side to technology on the financial services side to service providers, to hyperscalers, and also their industry. So I think we have a, well, industry as well as, I would say, a potential foundation for responsible AI. So I think we've got a good mix, and I look forward to having a, a very stimulating conversation. I've got a few questions for the panelists, and without further ado, I'll straight away jump into it. But before I, the only thing I would say is when I was thinking and preparing for this session, I was thinking that responsible AI, what does it mean? It means, is it ethical? Is it safe? What does it mean? Like just before this, we were talking and, we were talking that there's also this ask about regulating AI, and including nobody less than Sam Altman is saying that there is a need to regulate AI. And does regulating mean laws, or does it mean self-regulation? We'll talk through it. There are now countries / EU that have either enacted laws or or are in the process of publishing it. EU has enacted. China, Singapore, Korea have published. The US, Canada, Philippines, South Africa, Thailand, they are in the process of proposing. I understand India is also talking about a law. But that itself does not make it responsible. And the other thing is, I'm a big buff of science fiction, as some of you have heard me, talk at INFOCOM, you've heard. And, probably 60 years ago, Isaac Asimov, the famous science fiction writer, had designed the laws of robotics. He first started with 3 laws of robotics, and then he added a 0th one to that. I'm going to read them out before we start asking questions. So the first law for the robots, and I'm just trying to see if robots is equal to AI as we go. The first law for robots was a robot may not injure a human. The second law for robot was must obey the orders of a human except when it's against the first law. The third law was must protect itself while obeying the first and the second law. So it's in that sequence. And then he went and added a 4th one, which is the 0. He called it 0th, so that basically became the first law. A robot may not harm humanity, or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. So, and I was thinking maybe robotics will be, or this law is a good law, like Isaac Newton's laws, to talk about AI. So with that, I think, Dr. Mehra, I'll pick on you first. Particularly because, healthcare, I think, is supposed to be one of the first use cases for effective use of AI. AI has the potential to transform healthcare, including target intervention at not only mass level but individual level, at lifestyle, at vaccine, at medication level. How do we ensure, as humanity, as mankind, that this technology is used for our benefit, and at the same time avoid other pitfalls that may happen, including cyber attacks or potential biohazards?
Thank you, ABC, to invite me in such a wonderful event. I am Dr. Sushil Meher. I am heading the whole IT department of AIMS New Delhi. I worked last 32 years in AIMS New Delhi in the IT department. Last 10 years I am working the AI different projects, but more than 20 years I am teaching AI to the bioinformatics students also. So I have a clear concept on AI, how to use in healthcare. The basic principles of responsible AI is that it's supposed to be a fairness, it's supposed to be reliable, it's supposed to be a safety, security, privacy, and inclusive, competitiveness, transparency, and accountability. These are the basic principles if you go for any AI model today's date. Come to the real problems. 1:1900. One doctor, 1900 populations is available in the country right now. As per WHO, it's supposed to be 1:300. So this is the gap we have. Can this gap be filled up to producing more doctors? Just impossible, because you do not have that kind of infrastructure to make more doctors and will available for you. Here the technology will intervene. Definitely, today's days, the AI days. Why not AI will help us out to reduce the gap and where to use the AI. So that's why AIMS has started a lot of AI projects. One thing I'm talking about it. We are getting 16,000 patients in a day. Out of 16,000 patients in the OPD, around more than 3,000 patients, they are landed in a wrong department. Means they are losing the time, doctor's time, their time. And when the patient is getting delayed, definitely its complexity will go up. Can it be reduced by the AI? Yes. When they are taking appointments, we have an AI bot which can guide them which department he is supposed to take the appointment. So that 3,000 to it has come down to the 500. So this is the one of the use cases what we have used and what I am explaining you. Second part is that lot of means digital imaging in the healthcare. More than 60% of the cases you need a radiology intervention. And radiology reportings, it is very difficult and very time consuming, and we have a limited manpower. So right now, AI maximum it is being used in digital radiology. So most of the reportings right now it is coming up AI-based reporting. See, once whole body CT scan, it has more than 1,000 episodes of the image. If doctor will make a report, it takes around 40 minutes. When you are using AI to make the reports, it is taking less than 10 minutes. This is the use of AI in healthcare. Now I'm coming to the second part of your questions. When you are making a model, and a responsible AI, we're supposed to have a clean data to train the model. To clean the data, you're supposed to have one process you have to follow it. The data is supposed to be incomplete. Incomplete data is very dangerous. So you're supposed to have complete data. All the data will be properly standardized. It has to be normalized. And applicability, how it will be, that will be tested. Then you have to use the data for the training the model. But, but that is a very difficult part in the healthcare because people do not have the much data and data cannot be shared. So unethically, if somebody is doing different, but ethically, all the data cannot be shared to the all different domains. So this is the one of the biggest challenge in the healthcare where the data has been, cannot be used for all purpose. Third thing is that today's days, when you are making a model, these models has not been approved or it has been certified by any independent agency. If you talk about any instrument, you talk about it. There is some agencies that he can certify you what is the performance level. But here, those who are giving the any models, they are claiming themselves that this model is for this, and this can be your outputs, and this is the your advantage where you can work for it. But when we talk about this model, what is the sample data, what you have used for it, nobody will share with you. It means that any model which has been available, it is a black box for you, and you have to obey the person which is claiming it. This is the one of the main drawbacks because there is no fairness is there. If we talk about the responsible AI, it's supposed to be fairness and reliability. What reliability they will give it. Third point I'm talking about it. When you use a model, what data you are putting there? If you are putting the garbage in and garbage out. If you give me a wrong data or unclean data, your model, what you are using it, it might be a good model, but the performance will go down. So these are the things which has been really a problem today's days when people are using any AI model in healthcare. Last, what I'm talking about, it is a very successful model in the country we have used. That is ioncology.ai. The objective of this project is that early detection of the breast cancer and ovarian cancer. We have observed that there is 32% of increase of breast cancer and ovarian cancer in the urban area and 26% it has been increased in the rural area. To catch this one instrument we have developed it is called thermal scanning bra. Because any breast cancer which has to be tested, which has to be examined through mammography. And mammography is not available in the many of the places. So this thermal scanning bra, somebody will use it, then there is 82% of chances is there it will give accurate. And how it is work? It can be used by the Anganwadi worker, and they go to the rural place, they take the clinical informations, and when they will find out that there is some chances of a issue in breast and the ovarian, in that cases, the Anganwadi person will ask them, use this bra and come to me. When he'll go inside, use the bra, and he'll come out. In the back side of the bra, there's a cable is there, and that cable will put it in the Anganwadi mobiles, and the image will capture one light-weighted AI, which will scan it, and he'll predict it that you have the any malicious tumor or not. It is one of the successful project. Already been it is used in the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, some part of the Odisha, Haryana, Punjab. So this is coming to the commercial basis very soon in the country. So this is the use cases where AI can be largely used. And third one is the cyber security. Of course, cyber security is a big challenge for the healthcare. If we talk about the statistics, now the maximum vulnerability is coming to the healthcare, not your finance or any other things. So recently I have got through some documents that if you ask somebody to get your account's details, they are charging $1 in the US. But if we talk about anybody's healthcare records, they are charging $1,000. So what is the demand of healthcare records? You see it. So right now, many regulatory has come up to protect the healthcare data, but the domain is as such that if we keep the health records so confidentially, it cannot be shared. Then when it is required, at that times they cannot be accessed that records. So this is the one of the challenge which we are facing it, and the IT administrator also, they are also facing it, that how much data to be open, how much data to be not to be open, and who will access the data, and how the credential will be given to that. There is a big challenge till date, but we have to balance both the things, and I have to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Meher. I think very, very important key inputs, but we'll come back to you, on the healthcare because, as we understand, healthcare is one of the key consumers or use cases for AI as it takes off. But I'm going to swing to the other angle, and come to Sabyasachi, who's CEO at Wiki.ai. I think, and like we discussed, you are a provider of renewable energy to to the mankind, and at the same time you would also want to use AI to improve your business functions better and better. But my direct question to you is how do you see AI helping with sustainability? And what about its own appetite for energy?
Yeah. So two questions on,
Two divergent questions.
Yeah, two divergent questions on, two extremes. So obviously, like any industry, right? The disruption, the innovation happens. I mean, it has to happen, and it's happening. It has happened for other industries, and it is happening in renewable, and it will happen more powered by AI. Whether it's in the manufacturing or generation, transmission, and access to the humanity, right? Let's face the fact today, it is not accessible, renewable energy, green energy. It is not accessible to the human being. Let's take our country. It's not accessible the way it should be to our citizens, right? We have plenty of green resources. We have sunlight, we have water, we have wind. How much of it is being used by the citizens of our country, right? So if I look into the value chain, and I'll go straight, you are a consulting partner. If you look into the value chain, right from sourcing to manufacturing to bringing it to the household in the way it should be, it's not happening. The only way it can happen is through AI, right? Through disruption, changing the way the industry works, and that has happened for every other. You take finance, you take hospitality, if you take travel, all the disruptive innovations have happened powered by AI, right? And that is happening in renewable. I'm very proud to be part of one of the companies. So I can go into multiple use cases. I can tell you that, as I was telling you, Harish, I'm part of the group company, which is one of the largest and pioneer in the green energy, right? So I live inside use cases. I rub shoulders with people who face challenges for which I have answered through AI. So yeah, AI is going to bring that disruptive innovation which will make green energy accessible to the human beings. On the other extreme, as AI is evolving from AI to generative AI to Sam Altman is talking about AGI, which is almost near to what a human being can do, or it's knocking at our door, agentic AI, massive amount of energy is being consumed. Trillions of parameters being processed at a super speed. We talked about it. I go with three things where the balance can be brought in. Number one, it's a powerful tool, AI, but it's a powerful tool in the hand of good people. We have to go with that assumption, right? The Microsoft and the Amazons and the Googles of the world, or when you go to Zainab, she'll talk about it, right? It is in the hands of good people, right? A powerful tool. So at least as per the data is concerned, nearly all of them are very fast moving towards carbon neutral. That's one. Secondly, they are also evolving the technology. A lot of the algorithms are being optimized. A lot of AI is coming at the edge rather than happening in data centers. AI in my mobile, right? So that is also going to optimize the energy consumption. And the third and the big one is there's a lot of work going on at this point in time in the labs in the way computing is happening. Right? Today, computing actually takes massive amount of resources. When the computing happens in our brain doesn't get hot. So there is a lot happening in what is called neuromorphic computing, right? That's what I learned. I heard from professors of big institutes where entire computing is going to change, where yes, massive amount of data processing computing will happen, but the machines won't get hot. So I see that three things which is being done. One is the folks who are consuming it are going carbon neutral. Second is optimization happening at an algorithm level or at the edge level. Third is disruptive innovation happening at the computing. Answers.
No, thank you. I think very, very helpful. But as you were talking and you were talking about some good companies, I'm going to throw a question back to all of you. How do you define good company? East India Company was good for England. Was it good for us? So these companies, all of them are huge behemoths, most of them based in one country. Are they going to colonize us again, the whole world, because of their access to AI? They'll be able to decide how medicines are made, how financial services run, how education is done. And when we say responsible AI, on what parameters would be, and sorry, this is not for you, it's for everybody. If you want to answer, please answer. On what parameters would we assess? And will they become so huge, that at certain point of time, the British government had to, take over running India. I don't know if you went from bad to worse or good to worse. I don't know what happened. But, there was a company set up which was running, which had huge resources at its control. Is there a risk of these companies becoming one of those? I don't know. If any of you want to answer that question or give your opinion on that, I'll just open it to everybody.
I'll just add, hi, evening everybody, and excited to be part of this panel. My name is Zainab Lakrawala. I represent STT Data Centers, one of the largest data center provider in the country today. And one of the things that I would like to call out, and this is precisely from my industry point of view, right? Not to do with a very general or a holistic view, but very specific to industry. If you look at the data center industry today, we've been multiplying our capacities year after year. Practically every 3 years we're doubling. Today we are about almost 900 megawatt of capacity that we have today. And I must say of that, almost 85% is all the hyperscalers. So in some form or the other, they're dominating the market. And to your question, it's very apt that yes, you will realize that the whole industry is growing because of the growth of hyperscale and cloud players. It was a cloud wave earlier, which has now come to the AI wave. And everybody is riding the wave. The wave is helping us to grow. The wave is helping us to get more job creation done. The wave is helping us to also generate more capacities and become more prominent in the whole ecosystem. But at the same point in time, we're also getting dominated by the big fours in the world. So it's a very fine line to say whether we are dominated or whether we'll be ruled by them. It's the matter of fact that the amount of capacity or the amount of quantity or the volume that they're bringing in, they're definitely in a position wherein they can demand at this point in time. So certainly, while we are happily working with them and enjoying the benefits because of the growth and the positive outcome of it, we don't know what really happens as we go bigger and bigger and they go more stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I have no doubt what Sabyasachi is saying. They're good ethical companies and they do good. But there's this always niggling fear. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
So
Yes,
just to add to what Zainab said, I think it's also a factor of imagination, innovation, and scale, right? So yesterday we were listening to Matthew Griffin's, the way Elon Musk has disrupted 4 industries, right? And the way the satellite telephony made over, take over the Geo, which is one of the largest operator in the world. So in this days and age of skill, innovation, vision, can we really stop some companies or some region from doing what they are doing, unless the others also become as much visionary? It may be a coincidence that things are happening out of that part of the world, but I really don't know, why other parts of the world cannot come up and take that leadership position.
I think, you're right in a way that, are we held ransom to these countries where, they are building everything, so tomorrow they decide to switch it off, will we get impacted or not? So I think that's a very, very important question. Also, what a lot of these companies are doing is that they are kind of building these models in developed countries and then shipping it to these underdeveloped countries and expecting that the same model is going to work for them. And that's why you see so much of biasness in the results and the outcomes. So I think that's a very important question. I don't know an answer for it, but yeah, we are, I think, running the risk of held ransom to these countries. So it's very important that we pick it up and try and do some more work on the same field.
Yeah, because and in my view, a law is not always the answer. The law always comes into play after something goes wrong, and you hold somebody responsible. But if AI becomes so strong and something goes wrong, who do you go and catch? If today there is for example, I started my career being a cyber practitioner. If there's a hacker sitting in North Korea meddling with your computer, you can't even, there's no jurisdictional access to that individual. So likewise, law can only catch somebody within the geographical boundaries of India. If somebody is sitting outside, you can't even deal with it. But as we move forward, we'll deal with it. But I'm in a hurry to move on. So Zainab, since you were the first one to pick up the mic, I'm going to come to you first.
No problem.
So Zainab, you're a data center company. You represent a data center company, and data centers are the backbone of AI promulgation development. But as you briefly alluded, they also contribute to energy consumption and carbon emissions. How are data center companies balancing, the growing demand for AI with sustainable practices?
So, yes, and you're right in saying that. We are guzzlers of energy. And, we were discussing right before we got into the room that we almost consume 2% of India's full energy which is getting produced.
Your company consumes 2%
no,
or?
Overall data center.
The hyperscalers.
No, not at all. So, but what is very interesting is we are also very conscious of the fact that we are guzzlers. And, that gives us awareness and being thoughtful about how are we doing our business, how sensitive we are towards nature. We have taken, obviously, being net zero is one of our aims, and we will be going net zero by 2030. Having said that, we also want to be carbon neutral as well, right? Now, what we are doing is there are 2 or 3 steps that I would call out in terms of practices that we are following to ensure that we are in hand with Mother Nature. One, our first philosophy is to save what we are actually using, which means that at one point in time, when an equipment was using 1 unit of power, we were burning 1 unit of power to just keep the infrastructure running. This is towards cooling or towards power. So it's a 1:1 ratio. We call it PUE in our terminologies. It's the effectiveness or the power usage effectiveness overall. What we have started doing is we started monitoring, and we have internal targets to bring it down. Plus our new data centers, we're designing it to come down to a level to 1.5. So our designs are coming to the level wherein our PUEs are getting we're just spending half a unit for every unit burn. That's one. That's one way where we are saving, introducing better infrastructure in terms of whenever we're buying equipments, we're buying better star equipment, like what we do in our houses, right? When you buy an air conditioner, you want to go and buy a 5-star AC and not a 3-star. You understand the benefit of that. So that's one way where we're bringing our usage down. The second thing that we're doing is we are tying up and investing in green power. We call it power purchase agreements. So these agreements allow us to secure green energy. And today, as we speak, we are 48% of our data centers is powered by green energy. This is purely green. And our target is actually to go 100% green. That's our ideology. Some of our data centers have already reached there. We are already in few data centers, we are already 100% green. But however, because on an average, we'll still be at 48. But we have seen how do we walk through that journey of becoming 100% green. We have that experience. We're just trying to figure out ways to come to that part. So that's the second part of it. And the third part of it, which is very important, is also educating your customers. Today, I can't be, going green, or I can't be being very, very effective without my customers really supporting me. So in this ecosystem, we also educate our customers how to use energy effectively. Like small examples, when you have positioned your racks, how many equipments in your racks are populated? The areas which are not populated, can you use blanking panels so that you save energy there? Or can we do coal air containment so that we contain coal air and improve the efficiency? Or can you improve the load of the equipment? So let's say today, this is a room full of people. Think about it like that. The energy is effectively used. If there are only 5 people in the room, it's not used effectively, right? You're wasting a lot of energy. So we're also telling our customers that please be mindful of your loads. And we also incentive them for using and improving their load factors in DC. So these are 3-4 major parts that we've been doing. By and large, we are very proud to say that we are really ahead of the journey. If you look at our curve of going green, we are a bit ahead of what we have been projecting. We are also very mindful. So there's one about green power or green energy, but we're also actually measuring our water usage efficiencies as well. WUE, it means how much of water are we using or consuming for data centers. We're also very conscious about how much green that we are planting in our data centers. So there's small steps that we've been doing, and be mindful. I think the fact that if you are mindful about what you're doing, if you're aware, automatically you will take steps towards being greener.
No, sounds like I think you are actually using a bit of AI in making your own operations more efficient, and reducing your energy consumption or optimizing your energy consumption.
We have started on that journey actually, and some of the AI that we are using is also to predict in terms of how do we ensure that there are lesser maintenance activities, mostly on those lines.
Yeah.
But our idea to go towards sustainably green, AI is also one of the ways that we're trying to incorporate in our operations. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the use cases I was hearing is when people put solar panels on their rooftops, you only capture half the sunlight, because, or people put two solar panels to capture one side of the sun's curve and the other side of the sun curves. And then I was made aware of this technology which changes the panel to follow the sun's arc, and you can use one panel. So some of these use cases would also make actually it more efficient.
There's one more thing that's really happening. If you know, in the green energy world, the biggest problem statement was how do you save energy what you generate? Store, not save, store. For example, when it's a sunny, nice day, you are able to generate green, but in the night you're not able to, right? So there are solutions which are coming up, which is like follow the sun, and it allows you to store green energy, what is produced during the day, and use it round the clock. We are trying to work on that as well, wherein it will also further help us. Unlike a lot of industries where the usage is up and down depending on the time of the day, right? Our industry is pretty flat. Whether it is day or night, our usage is same. It doesn't really change. So we're trying to see how do we use these kind of ways also, wherein we can incorporate more green energy into our practices.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, Anab. Krishnenji, financial services. We've spoken about energy, we've spoken about health, we'll talk about financial services. So, AI obviously relies a lot on data. So there's so I'll throw some buzzwords at you, whether the data is trustworthy, whether it's used ethically, is there any bias in data? How do we ensure all of these when we are moving more and more towards AI, particularly with financial data?
Sure. So ensuring data on AI, especially for a financial company like ours, we have to we have to have a very multifaceted approach. Okay, starting from the source of the data. Now, when you're sourcing this data, you have to make sure that you're sourcing it from reliable sources. It can be financial institutes, it can be stock exchanges, or it can be any other, authentic data source. Once you have sourced that data, you have to make sure that your data is clean. Like you have to remove all the inaccuracies, all the incomplete data records. Make sure that data is clean before it is pre-processed. Once you have processed it, once you are processing it, you have to make sure also that you are abiding by different benchmarks that are available in the industry. So that the data accuracy is maintained. Now, talking about ethical use of data, are you taking explicit consent from the user whom you are fetching this data, right? That's very important. Then the second thing is, once you are feeding this data into the system and you're getting the output, there are a lot of biasness that are created, right? Now, how do you make sure, these biasness can be in form of gender bias or ethnicity bias. Are you removing these biasness? Are you correcting these biasness? That's another big, problem that you need to solve. And ultimately, if you are taking this user data, are you using it for the purpose that you have taken it? Or are you cross-selling that data or upselling that data? Now, that is also something which is very ethically important for you to, as an organization, to make sure. So apart from that, there are other, aspects, I would say, like, are you following the laws of the land, like GDPR or, DPDPA or, RBI regulations? Are you following those regulations or not? Are you maintaining access logs or, through the entire journey of the data? So these things are very important. Again, security comes into picture. Are you encrypting the data in motion and at rest? Are you monitoring your data, whether there is any breaches of your data or not? So I think if you collectively and in a wholesome way look at these aspects of it, you can not only create a very robust framework, but also you can make sure that your customers are more confident on you. So I think this is one way you can approach it.
So what I'm hearing you say is that while businesses will do whatever it needs, and to Sabyasachi's point, some of these are good companies, it has to be supported by regulation, to make sure people stay in the line, and there are no biases or unethical practices that may come in. Okay, thanks. I think Shantanu has been waiting for a while, so Shantanu, I'll come to you. So Shantanu, for an and you obviously belong to DXC, so whole lot of technology. So for an organization to adopt AI, what are the basic cybersecurity requirements that they should have, to make sure that they are responsible and sustainable?
Yeah, thank you. So if we take just a step back before we get into the cybersecurity or the security aspects for responsible AI, particularly. So what is a responsible AI? It's a lot like what you said about the laws of the robots, right?
Yeah.
So what makes a responsible AI? Largely the tenets of responsible AI, as we see, or general consensus is that it should be trustworthy. People should be having confidence in the AI and the outcome of it. It should not pose any risk and harm to the user or the community at large. It should be compliant to the rules of the land and the guiding principles. And after achieving all this, it should give a long-term sustainable benefit. Now, if we have to achieve all of this, I'm speaking specifically for responsible AI part of it, the cybersecurity requirements that are there, that the, the basic tenets of cybersecurity requirements does not change. The infrastructure security, the application security, the end user security, or the network security, these are already adopted, and it is, as we speak, improved day by day, because standard enterprise norms of IT security are in place. So it is not different for AI. But with respect to AIs, some of the things that becomes even more crucial and important, some of these have been spoken even in this discussion. So one is data privacy and security, right? So there should not be any PII, personally identifiable information. So you need to take precautions of things like anonymization and, follow the guidelines of HIPAA or, the compliance of GDPR and all of that. Secondly, one of the major sources of risk to the AI models and this whole security is third-party sources, unknown sources, open source platforms, which I think Krishnanjit also spoke about. So you need to have checks and balances to mitigate those kind of risks. Another source of big challenge is the bias, which all of us have spoken in here. So you need to have good practices like bias audits, explainability, and so on. And there are good tools coming up. I think every so-called good companies, as you are calling, they are also coming out with bias assessment tools. Like IBM has a tool, Microsoft has a tool, Google has a tool. Different government bodies are coming up with frameworks and audits. And end of the day, it has to be compliant to the regulations, right? And there are regulations, again, from the government bodies, from open source forums, from practitioners, etc. Now, this area is still, as we speak, changing every day, bringing new challenges, developing, improving, etc. So it's a kind of a moving target. But some good frameworks have also come into the picture, like NIST AI framework is quite a comprehensive framework. Similarly, I think EU AI framework, responsible AI framework is also comprehensive, and they are also changing day by day. So I think largely the AI practitioners and enterprises focus on these aspects, adopt a good framework, good set of tools, and most important is be aware and be, collaborative, and the accountability and responsibility defined within the organization. I think most of these challenges can be mitigated.
Thank you. I have one open question for all of you, one or two, for developing countries like India, where we have a lot of people who are looking for jobs, is AI going to be a boon or a bane? And you can each answer.
See, this problem has been discussed in many forums and many journals and many articles. It has come up. See, still human intervention is required. Human intelligence is different than the machine intelligence. Job is not an issue, but you have to change yourself and you have to be more AI equipped. So you have to train yourself that how you can use the AI models on your own work to make your work more efficient and accurate. That is the my submission is there.
I think, Arish, it's yes and no. Yes, because definitely there are going to be a lot of jobs that will be lost. Like in our industry, things which are repetitive in nature, definitely they will be lost. But good in a way that, processing and, decision making that was not possible on huge amount of data, it will be possible with AI. But, again, we have to see and take certain steps in order to ensure that, we are doing it in a responsible way. We are making sure that we are taking it as a learning rather than, getting, that's one of the problems that a lot of people face is skill degradation. we're getting so used to AI, then that, for everything we are going to ChatGPT and getting the answers for it. So it is making us very lazy. So, do we want to use it for, our benefit, or do we want to use it to make our life more, boring or lazy? So that's a question that we need to ask ourselves and act accordingly.
May I? Flat out, it's a boon.
It's a boon.
It's a boon. I don't know whether we have time, but I can elaborate on that a bit for a minute. In the past, more, now still, a lot of the workforce work as robots. Think of a day in the life. Take the robot out of the person, the human being will become a human being. This will only evolve our workforce, right? So that's what I see it's going to be. If there is someone losing a job now, they will not lose the job to AI. They'll lose the job to someone who uses AI. That's my point.
That's very well said. Thank you, and I concur. I think, thank you, gentlemen and lady, for fantastic session. I think the way I'm taking away is, like you rightly said, AI will be a boon, and I think for a country like ours, we can actually use AI for hastening the progress of our country in all use cases, including energy, financial services, healthcare, law. We've not discussed law, but fixing our traffic issues. I think there are a lot of use cases for India, climate change. So I think, it's going to be exciting next few years for us, and I look forward to participating in this journey along with all of you. And thank you for taking out the time and talking to me today. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. It was
everybody.
a wonderful panel.
Thank you so much.
May I now request all of you to stay on stage while I call upon Mr. Suman Banerjee, CHRO, ABP Private Limited, to felicitate our esteemed panelists. A huge round of applause for them, please. May I request all of you to stay on stage for the photograph, please? Thank you once again.